Hey guys, happy Friday, May 17th. It is a really nice day here in York, Pennsylvania. And it's been a while since I left you a video, and it's probably been calculated to some degree as to why I didn't for a bit here. I'll share it with you in a moment. On a funny note, I worked last night. It's about 9:15 in the morning here right now, and got home and sat for about 20 minutes to decompress. I'm at a high school where they're having, for the school district, the elementary school Olympiad field day, whatever you want to call it. So I guess this will show you when I pan around here. You can see these are the stands. You can see that I'm the only person here. So I guess this would be a good lesson to learn not to listen to a 9-year-old, but instead to read the email about what time things would start. The advantage to wearing these journey shirts of mine, I told my son, look in the stands, I should be able to stand out. Well, I'm pretty sure he's not going to need to see the yellow shirt today with the hordes of people around me here. Anyway, they got some good tunes rocking out. So I wanted to talk about a couple things though, if I could. First of all, let's talk about why it's been a little bit for me to have sent a video. I was prepared. I've really been going at the book pretty darn good. Forgive me here if the music is loud in the background. Sounds like a little Van Halen coming on. But anyway, last Wednesday, was it? Last Wednesday was exactly 1 year that I had the epiphany to where I was watching a movie and it hit me to put the journey into action. And you know, I am a pretty emotional guy, and I certainly wear my emotions on my sleeve, and that's one of the reasons why I was planning on doing a video that day. And I gotta be honest with you, it struck me much harder than I thought it would. And I was actually, you know, I've been on this journey talking about a lot of different social issues, and one of them has been mental illness, depression, things like that. And I will say that I have a little Sweet Caroline going on, but I got pretty depressed that day. I've been down before, but I don't ever think that I was what I would call depressed. But that day, reflecting back on the year earlier and all the things that went down, I guess in a way I was disappointed, and I had thought the book would be finished by now and many other things would come of it, and to face the reality that a year had gone by, and you know, what did I have to show for it? I shouldn't say what I had to show for it. I have a lot to show for it. I have many new friends and stories and a lot of great things, but I guess I was just down, and I didn't want to do a video later that day or even the next day or two because I was still kind of in a little bit of a funk. And the one thing that I have a tough time on here is I try to be real and I try to share my emotions, but I try to be a little bit protective. And one of the things that has happened is that a great many people that follow me have become friends and genuinely, here's the Olympics right now, and genuinely care for me. And the minute I say I'm down or I'm struggling with something, people by nature want to help and want to be concerned, and I don't want to alarm anybody, so I just thought I'd keep to myself. And then by the time the weekend rolled around with baseball tournaments and everything else, I just didn't get around to it. So that's a little bit about me there. I hope you can hear me. I know my friend Glenn, aka Batman, tells me my quality on these things is awful, and I need to do a better job with that. So maybe you hear the Olympics in the background, maybe you can still hear me. Oh look, there's other fans here. There's 2 more people coming to join the party, so maybe my son will have to pick up me from 3 people. So anyway, a couple of social issues though I want to talk about that I thought were really indicative of something. That's a loud song. So should I even record this video and send this video out? I'm gonna fight my way through it. I'm gonna record this video. You guys are gonna get to hear the music in the background. So a couple of things that transpired this past week and that I wanted to talk about. One was, maybe it's the reporting to grab a headline, but I saw this thing in the news about a woman being, iPhone to say, to say I'm pregnant before being, I believe, shot and killed. And you go, your first reaction's, wow, that's pretty shitty that a cop shot and killed somebody and she's saying don't shoot me. But when you read the story, you read that he had seen she had warrants out, he knew she had warrants, he told her to stop, she didn't stop, he ended up tasing her, she wrestled with him, and things happened. And the reason I bring that up was on at least 3 occasions on my journey, I went to places where there were fatalities from a police shooting. And every one of them, there are good cops, there are bad cops, but I'm trying to say they get a raw deal in this regard. Every one of them ended up in that result because of one thing. The person didn't stop, didn't freeze, and went after the officer's gun, taser, whatever it may be. So, I have a problem when people want to talk about all this unjust behavior in police shootings when our citizens are not recognizing the authority and either stopping, freezing, pulling over, whatever. I'm not saying they should be dead as a result, but if you play with fire, you get burned. If you don't play with fire, you'll never get burned. And that was a conversation I've had many times on here, and I shared going back to Pittsburgh when a woman got a little bit heated with me. I went into a neighborhood where somebody was shot and killed, and I simply asked a question, which was, had he not run, had he just stopped, would he be dead right now? And apparently that question wasn't received very well by just one particular person. And now here I am, I'm reading Yahoo News, which is my little phone thing, and woman says I'm pregnant and gets killed, like she's put her hands up and said, don't shoot, I'm pregnant. The guy just blasted her. I mean, that's the way the headline implied. So sometimes it's not an abuse of power. It's a ignorance of respecting authority or the law. But then conversely, not on such a serious level, but it just goes to show there's actually 2 things I think are really preposterous. And it's amazing how our society has become. So the story as I know it was a Southwest Airlines flight that was delayed 3 or 4 hours, and the flight attendant was walking down the aisle handing out water, and I'm always giving a sarcastic joke, so I could see this happening with me, said something to the flight attendant like, is that vodka? And he or she was like, yeah, it's vodka. And she went the next seat down, and the guy said, that's not vodka. Well, apparently she was so offended. I'm sure she or he was upset having 3 or 4 hour wait as well. But she called the police to wait to get this person at the gate and arrest this person for unruly behavior or something like that. Other passengers came to this guy's rescue. In fact, one older gentleman said if there's anyone, they should be arresting me, not him. But you talk about a kind of an abuse of power. All you have to do is suggest something, and then you're having to prove your innocence. It's just preposterous. I can speak firsthand to this. I was on vacation in Maine years ago. My son was a little bit unruly and giving his mom a hard time, and I went into the bathroom, and of course, I put the fear of God in my son, and when I get a look on my face, and he was 3, and I grabbed him, and I wouldn't let him ruin everybody's meal, so I carried him out of the restaurant, and I went and sat in my car. Well, of course, some